Good morning.
Good morning. Come on, I'm so happy to be here.
I know, the last day of November.
Thank you for being here. When
Yes.
I'm not here all the time, I sometimes wonder, because I work on the weekend normally, or abnormally. And I wonder, are you there? I even drove by last night, and I was over.
We're always going to be here, Patricia,
at the
until we
gar-
all grow
Well,
up
that's
and we're
great.
somewhere
Yes.
We are
but
here.
Just the thought.
I wanted to
so
make
thank
sure
you for
that we
being
were here. Oh, well, you're welcome.
Just me, Patricia.
Yeah, we're here. So, all right, today what we're going to do is we're going to conclude our exploration of the 15 steps to God consciousness, or the 15 building blocks in our spiritual armor. And they're outlined in Deepak Chopra's book down there called The Third Jesus. Has anybody read The Third Jesus? Oh, let me tell you.
Got most of his material.
Yeah, you're welcome to borrow this one if you'd like. It's a great book. We've been looking at the 15 concepts that were put forth by the Master Teacher Jesus that are very relevant to us in today's world. Obviously, all of Jesus' teachings are relevant because they continue on. But this is the way he looked at these and how he talked about the third Jesus, and that's the one we're discussing. And I think this is especially relevant right now with what's gone on this past week in Ferguson and around the country with the demonstrations. I was very pleased to see some of them were actually peaceful, and I thought that was very good.
Excuse me, could you just say what is the first and second Jesus? I mean, I kind of.
We can go into that out, yeah.
Oh,
And actually, they're covered in the earlier talks. So,
That's what I meant. I mean,
Well, you should
just
find
like.
on CSLmodesto.com, listen to
Oh.
Reverend Chris.
well,
If we go through all the others, we won't get through this one.
No, I just meant,
No.
what could you, bottom line, like you
Well-
summarize, just the first one was the one walking, the second one was the one ascended, I don't know.
yeah, it's basic. We'll go over it afterwards. I can
Okay,
catch you up on all of that.
It's just the name of the book.
All right.
Yeah, it's just there is the third Jesus, which is basically the metaphysical teachings. That was the third Jesus. So you're right. The first one was the physical one. The second one was what the church, the Catholic Church, how they interpreted him,
Got it.
and then the third
Right.
Jesus is the metaphysical
Yes.
meaning of what, as Deepak says, what his true meanings were
Yes.
about.
Thank
So,
you.
You're welcome. So okay.
Thank you.
So today we're going to look at the last three concepts because we've had 5 Sundays and we've done 3 each week, and we're their meanings are pretty straightforward. The ones that we're looking at because they are they're pretty simple. I think you'll just all understand the ones that we're looking at today. But also at the end, I want to do something that's important, and I hope that it's meaningful as we wrap up this entire month. So there's that little strip of white paper that is going to be part of that. So that's what you have. So let's just jump right into our final 3 concepts. They are abide in me as I abide in you. Pretty straightforward, right? And where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there among them. And of course, we had a minister in Redlands who always said where, 2 or more religious scientists are gathered, there shall be food. So that was her interpretation
At
of
least
that.
coffee.
At least coffee. So yeah, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am among them. And finally, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world if he loses his soul? So those are the final 3 that we're looking at today. So the first one, abide in me as I abide in you. And in this statement, once again, Jesus is referring to oneness, which is basically the basis of our whole teaching, is recognizing that we are one with Spirit. And he really loved that topic, the oneness of the individual with God. But it's more than just about oneness. It's about the conscious choices we make that come with the realization of our oneness. So let's look at the second part of the statement first. He said, as I abide in you. And obviously he's not physically, inside of us. So it has to, I abide in you, must be a metaphysical meaning. It must have a metaphysical meaning. And it refers to the presence of the Christ nature that is in all of us. The Christ nature that is our nature. And that's a spiritual truth. It's our spiritual truth. And so what is a Christ nature? A Christ nature is a divine nature. It's what I say every single week. It's the divinity within us, right? And it's a nature that is the essence of wholeness and creativity and perfect unfoldment and abundance and peace and love. All of that is within us. So Jesus said this Christ nature abides in you already. There's nothing we have to do. It's already there. You don't have to do anything to grab it or put it in there. It's already there. It's a given. It's just a given, okay? And then there's the first part of the statement, abide in me. And this is where Jesus is calling forth a conscious choice from us. That's the part we choose to do. Those qualities of Christ matter not unless we recognize them and act from them. That's where we have to actually go, okay, yeah, I recognize the divinity within me. And going from that decision forth, we have to make that conscious recognition. In the philosophy of Jesus for the world today, Ernest Holmes wrote, God exists everywhere, and in God we live and move and have our being. All the life of the Spirit, then, belongs to each one of us, but in a certain sense, we only have as much as we use. Interesting. In this simple statement, Jesus is telling us, look, you guys, you already have the divine, so get with it and start acting that way. It's like it's already there. It's already there. Start realizing that is your truth and start living your life from that vantage point. Enough of this limited, small way of looking at yourself. Of course, I'm going to quote one of my favorite quotes at this time, and this is Marianne Williamson, where she says, your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously, and I think consciously too, give other people permission to do the same, and as we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So this statement, this 13th building block of our spiritual armor, says to start acting like the whole and holy spiritual being that you are and make your choices in life from that vantage point. Okay, got it? All right, on to the second one for this morning. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am among them. Spiritual power increases as people gather together. Does everyone recognize that? Everyone feels that. When you are in a room of like-minded people, does your energy level just rise? Do you just feel inspired? In every tradition, people have worshipped together. In India, the word satsang applies to such gatherings. The word implies truth that grows stronger because it is shared. See, I think that's where the proselytizing came about. It's like, let's share the word, share the truth, because it does get stronger as it is shared. However, that isn't how we approach it. We give places where people, as they discover that truth, can come and connect and share. But what does it mean to say that spirit is present or that it grows stronger in a group? There is a power of encouragement when other people get it, right? There's that, if you can do it, then I can do it phenomenon. If it's true for one, it must be true for all, right? Remember Marianne Williamson's words, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others the permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And that's the power of gathering together in a spiritual community. So our wrap-up time together today, in just a few moments, will be a wonderful example of this, what we're going to do. When there's enough power of support when others are going through struggles. Equally powerful for both the one receiving and the one at the getting the support, giving the support or receiving the support. When asked what the greatest joy or benefit is of being a practitioner, through our, practitioners are the ones in our centers who do treatment for people who are asking for someone to know the truth when they are having a difficult time knowing it. These practitioners inevitably talk about how they are blessed when someone calls them for prayer. And I can say from a personal standpoint, I feel that too. Because what that does for me is it helps me remember the truth. And it may have been in it, treatment is always done in the mind of the practitioner. And when you are doing that, you cannot help but affect your own experience. When you're treating to know the truth for someone else, you're reminding yourself of that, your own truth. And maybe, I already know that, but man, it's a blessing to be able to do a treatment or an affirmative prayer for someone who needs it. So Vietnamese Buddhist author Thich Nhat Hanh recently wrote, "It is entirely possible that the next Buddha will not take the form of an individual. The next Buddha may take the form of a community practicing understanding and loving kindness, a community practicing mindful living." It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
What's the address?
That was it. Where is that community? It's right here. It's
Okay.
right where we are.
According to the locality, there you are.
Yeah, right where we are. We're all one. So I think that's what's happening. Our consciousness is evolving as a group, and we're pulling. We can't help but pull others with us as we go up. It's wonderful. So number 3, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world if he loses his soul? Remember the words of the 20th century hero James Bond? The world is not enough, right? These words of Jesus are a reminder to stay on the spiritual path, to remember what is real, to remember what is true, to remember why we are here. And why are we here? Why are we here? Do you remember? Because I've talked about this many times. I've done sermons on this. I've done entire month series on this.
You spread light.
Well, we are here for 2 reasons. One common to all of us and the other unique to each. The common one is to return to our spiritual truth. To remember who and what we are. To remember that God abides in us. That's why we are here. In this final building block of our spiritual armor, Jesus is telling us not to forget that. Don't forget that. Don't get so caught up in the world of form so much that you forget who you really are. Because in the end, who you are is what truly matters. That's all that matters. The second reason you are here is to express your unique gifts.
You're what?
Your unique gifts. Yes. And in your unique way. You may have concert pianists, maybe 10 of them, but each one of them isn't going to sound the same. They're all going to express their gift in their own way. So there's no duplicate of you. There's only one of each of you, and you are unique. And what you bring to this world is important. It is very important, because if you were not here, there would be a void. So each and every one of you have a reason for being here. There's no one else who can do what you do. And you can use this purpose to further the first. So look at the strip of paper that you found on your chair. I want you to take a moment to reflect on the concept, the statement that Jesus said, and the brief explanation of it. Okay, and then I want you to reflect on one of 2 things. Either how you've seen this concept work in and through your life, how you've actually applied it in your life, or reflect how you could and will apply it in your life. Just a moment to think about that. Would someone like to share brief thoughts on some of the concepts that they...
3 thoughts, did you
No,
say?
no, brief thoughts. Not 3 thoughts, brief. Yeah, you can have 3, just 3.
Yeah.
To me,
Oh, go ahead, Terry.
oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. To me,
Which one is yours?
okay. Which one is-
Oh, we get to choose?
Keep your spiritual vision constantly in mind.
Keep your spiritual vision constantly
Constantly in mind.
on, okay.
So whatever happens to me, whatever material loss or difficulties that I'm experiencing at the time,
The appearance of that.
yeah, the appearance of that, just realize that it is just, it does not have anything to do with my spirit, and no matter what my circumstance, I can keep my spirit strong. I can be happy and content inside myself, because it's all material stuff, and the material stuff doesn't really matter as much as the spiritual stuff.
So you
And-
remember who you are.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And that's what you're planning to do and keep doing.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Mine is that you can always make a different choice because I didn't like the first one.
Okay.
My yoke is easy, my burden, and all I could think was eggs and Bud Light. I don't know. But now I think that be still and know, connect with the God within through stillness, and this is what I'm always talking and teaching about.
And what you shared, what you did on your trip, when things arose,
Just be still.
you remembered to be
calm,
still.
and- Yes, connect with God and connect with the universe.
Okay.
I know to know that the universe really has got your back. I mean, there was times where I was like, oh, I should have done this, and I just realized in the middle of it all, what if this was God's plan and He just forgot to tell me? So this is where we're going now.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Everything works out for
Yeah,
good.
it's God's plan.
Everything is working for good.
Yeah, mine says, ask and you shall receive, be clear, direct, and purposeful in your desires, and accept them as already done, and they shall be made manifest in your life. And I think that's part of when I treat, I really do recognize them as already being done. They've already been completed. And what I've found is that in my relationships, in my friendships, in my work environment, my volunteerism, all facets of my life, if I follow what it says here, it comes to fruition.
It's good. Okay.
Well, I thought everyone's was alike, but they're not. Okay, but this is perfect for me. Do in the world, but not of it. Do what you are called to do in the physical world and then detach from the outcome. I always want everything to come out.
The
Well,
way
I'm sure you know that.
The way you want it to come out.
The way I think it
Should.
should be.
Oh, well, that's a
Or it
good.
doesn't turn out the way I think it should be, and then it bothers me. So it says, do what you are called to do in the physical world, and then detach from the outcome. Forget about it. Knowing it is in God's perfect hands.
Beautiful.
Put that on your refrigerator. Put that on your refrigerator, Mom.
That's beautiful. Good. Patricia.
And mine was where 2 or 3 are gathered. This is kind of a big one for me, but it does say where 2 or 3, and for the last 2.5 years teaching adult students on the weekends,
Mm-hmm.
I get small numbers rather than larger numbers, and they usually are 3 to 7 or 8, but usually 3 or 4. And I, of late, have thought, gee, I'm using all this energy and information, and I would rather be doing that with 20 in a room or 30 in a room.
Me too.
And so part of that, maybe I should have half of yours, like the outcome. And I even say on the very beginning of each 6-week class, trust the process.
Yes.
So I've been teaching myself actually, and I am sharing the journey, giving permission. I see it in the students, yet this lingering, it's getting stronger and stronger, that I want it bigger and bigger.
That's
I want more
great.
impact.
Nothing wrong with
But
that.
that's really
Nothing wrong with
not
that.
the point, because he's saying, no, it is what it is right now.
And
And
it's-
if it's going to be different, it's tomorrow. Maybe you need to allow it or receive it.
Trust the process.
See, just,
Yeah, like you said. Good.
Trust the
so,
process.
yeah.
Rob, you want to share?
Yeah, this is the right for me right now. The kingdom of heaven is within. Science is proving that the kingdom of heaven, peace, love, and harmony, is literally in the right hemisphere of your brain, and you can access it at any time by breathing deeply and moving to present moment awareness. So, if anything is bothering you, just relax, close your eyes,
Take a deep breath.
and know that you're connected.
That's it.
You know.
That's a good one, because we often tend to think with our left sides of our brain a lot, trying to figure things out and be logical and wanting things to fit in the order that we want. And it's good to go to that right side and recognize where the kingdom of heaven is. So let me review all these real quick.
And
I'll
just
go
a thought, like,
Sure.
listen to all those lessons. They were all the same.
pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Different road, same path.
Yeah. So these are the 15. I'm just going to review them very quickly.
You're good, Patricia.
Number 1, the kingdom of heaven is within. Number 2, for my yoke is easy and my burden light. Number 3, be in the world but not of it. Number 4, ask and you shall receive. Number 5, forgive those who trespass against you. Number 6, be still and know. Number 7, as you sow, so shall you reap. Number 8, resist not evil. Number 9, in my Father's house there are many mansions or dimensions. 10, you must be born from above. 11, do not worry about tomorrow. Number 12, you are the light of the world. Number 13, abide in me as I abide in you. Number 14, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am among them. Number 15, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world if he loses his soul? So that is all of them for our month. So I want to leave this month's theme with a story. This is a story of a hermit crab. And hermit crabs, if you aren't familiar with them, are crabs without a shell, and they travel on the sand until they find an empty shell. They take the shells that have been abandoned. And a friend at Asilomar, actually this was J. Scott Neal, he's the Dr. J. Scott Neal, who was the minister in Fremont. He told this story at Asilomar. And he saw a crab that was in a very small shell, and it was way too little for him, and he looked very, very uncomfortable. And he watched the crab walk up to an empty shell that was laying on the beach. And so he says that the crab dropped its shell and took on the new shell, and it fit perfectly. And for a little while, the crab walked around in the new shell, and it fit great. But the little crab must have been uncomfortable in the new shell, because he soon got out of it and went back to his little shell, because it was what he was used to. This month has been about taking on a new shell. It may feel just a little uncomfortable at first. It may take a little bit of time to get adjusted to it. Not everything may be comfortable right up front, like taking a higher viewpoint in the midst of a challenge, or choosing to be the light in a dark situation, or placing the fullness of your trust in God. And it takes courage and willingness to be uncomfortable for a while as we move into our new consciousness. It takes courage. But don't be like the little hermit crab, who in his discomfort with the new expanded shell returned to his limiting and restricting one. Stay with the new, and you will come to see how really it is a perfect fit. And that is what the second coming of, that's when the second coming of Jesus will occur. Not in a distant time when one man returns to earth, but when the Christ nature is fully birthed through each and every one of us. That is the true second coming. So are we ready?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. All right. And so it is.
And so it
So it
is.
is.